So with websites, they are becoming increasingly part of your business strategy. They are perhaps the biggest and most important tool that you have available to you, and very much definitely should be treated as such in terms of the amount of investment you give to them. So they are obviously your brochure, they are your tool to get your style across, to introduce yourselves, your background, your co-workers, your product, your service. But beyond that, they're almost intrinsic to your business. So they provide you with your communication channel in terms of your CRM system, for example. They are a vital piece of information and analysis. But um, you have to have your architecture absolutely spot on for that information to be accurate and valuable, as opposed to essentially a complete waste of time. So by that I mean, if you've got a lot of people that aren't your visitors, that are visiting your site but aren't your customers, and they are interacting with your website and you're recording that information in terms of behaviour, it is actually completely negative data, because you're profiling people that are there by mistake, and that is going more into the marketing side of things. But the way, and I say funnel with a degree of hesitation, because I do think that people get funneled a bit too much, and I do think there are certain people who absolutely are in a hurry and they don't want to have to think, and they need to get to wherever they need to get to as quickly as possible. But there are also a lot of people and sectors that are not requiring that degree of authoritarian approach, and they want a little bit of consumer choice, they want to have a little bit of deviation, they have got time to do research. So you do have to bear those sorts of things in mind very, very carefully. And then beyond, you've got the optimization side of things. So how do you create the content? How do you make sure the content's good? How do you present that content? If you're doing, for example, reams and reams of blogs are increasingly utilised for purposes of optimization, and they do have a value there. But equally, how do you present that information appropriately when the user is interested in that information, without detracting from your own site, your own call to action, the opportunities that you're giving them to engage with you directly as a business? But it's those sorts of things that are going to make a vital difference to the success of your site. So beyond the brochure, beyond it being a sales tool and an actual source of revenue, beyond the fact that it is an absolute requirement to make sure that you have user-generated content, that you have a call to action, that you have a very clear value proposition at the right point, that you are building trust and all these sorts of areas, that you have got your style and your branding. What else is it that you're actually going to provide that doesn't necessarily have to be unique, but unique to you, and something that is useful or interesting or memorable, or whatever it is, something that is dynamic to the user. And those sorts of things obviously require quite a lot of thought, and they need to be built bespoke. There are so many different host and template type options, but it does essentially mean that you almost start changing your business to fit the site, and that would probably be the worst case scenario. So whenever you're making your decisions, to work on that bespoke to your needs is absolutely vital, really. And there's many agencies and people like myself, freelancers, that can do that. So that's just a few of the considerations in terms of. So I'm saying all these things, and you're just kind of seeing pounds and thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to cost a fortune. And yeah, it can cost a fortune, but it doesn't necessarily have to. To do a staged build, for example, is really not a bad idea at all. So to launch with a kind of basic informational type structure, with some good detailing, it is not going to do you any harm if you plan that development, and that could be anything over 6 months to 18 months. But to plan that is vitally important. So you might have a great website, it might be the best website, but if you don't alter it or keep it up to date or make any alterations, and you just keep it as a finished site and don't do anything with it, then that would that would be a complete no-no. So it is, if budgets are tight to begin with, as they inevitably are, don't discount the stage build thinking that you're not doing enough to start with. It's not necessarily a bad thing unless you've got huge sums of money to be able to launch and not have something that's all singing or dancing, and something to shout about isn't necessarily always desirable in the startup space. So do consider that as an option with the phase development. And also, in light of a lot of the COVID grants, anything that you can do to work within your region or locality or community is obviously going to be a very positive thing, because it does create an energy. It's something very positive to be involved with, and I think that certainly in times like these, it's important to kind of keep those factors in mind as well. It's the bigger picture. And then also security elements. Obviously, your insurance company will be able to give you quite a lot of information in regards to your responsibilities beyond GDPR and cybersecurity. But again, whilst you're actually building the site, there are a lot of things that you can do that are intrinsically safe and offset your risk, and it becomes somebody else's responsibility. But also, there are very simple little pieces of code that can be put into the site to make it very, very much more secure. And that bespoke level, if you can find the right people to work with, is going to be of huge value, because it's something unique to your site, and giving you something that little bit extra. So there's lots of things to be discussed and to be thought about. I'm more than happy, again, if you want to click on the chat link to start a chat with you about your project, or if you want to prefer to call, then again, it's absolutely fine to do that. There's no costs incurred until the actual project outline is started. Obviously, I can't give you reams and reams of information for free, but certainly happy to chat about the fundamentals, and try and get you in a kind of positive and organised first few steps forward. So